Hello, 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 y'all. Welcome back to Talk It Out with D&D. Y'all know I'm Denise Murray, and you got my girl here, Miss Denise Day, all day. Now, y'all, today, if you watching this live, or you might, or even if you watching this later, catching the replay, I need you to stay with us tonight because this is not one of those feel good episodes. This is real life, real season conversation. Winter doesn't announce itself politely. It doesn't wait until you're ready. It really doesn't care if you were meaning to be prepared. Tonight, we're talking about being prepared for winter, y'all, because it hits while it happening, after it's gone, but not to panic, not to fear. We just want you to be smart, calm, and grown folk preparation. I'm gonna say that again. We need that grown folk preparation. And one thing we're gonna say tonight saves you money, it's gonna save you stress, and all is gonna save you safety. So this episode is gonna definitely do its job. So I need y'all to stay in here and listen up because we about to break it down for y'all. So let's start with before the storm. Now, I know if y'all are, I know like in Philly, like, most of the up north people, like I'm from up north. So of course, a lot of us already know how it is when it's good, when we getting a whole bunch of snow. I don't know if y'all remember like in Philly, how we had that blizzard of 96 and that snow was up our doors, like literally, like you couldn't even come out and do nothing. It was so much snow. I just want y'all to let me know, like if you've been through the storm and any type of storm, winter storms. I'm talking about winter storms, not any storm, but winter storm. And y'all had these storms. Let me just know and put in the chat, like I've been there. I've been in them snowstorms. Tell me about it. Put in the chat storm. Put in the chat storm. Because I want to know. I want to know. So go ahead and put that on there. Because we want to know. And let me see if I can see y'all. Hold on. Let me put it on here so I can see if you commenting. Okay. Yeah. So definitely go ahead and put in storm if you've been in those winter storms before. If you had to be in those winter storms. I want y'all. Now, like I said, up north, we had those crazy storms. So this is why we're trying to get prepared people, because I know here in Georgia is not really used to, and they're starting to get a little bit more now, but it really is not. They're not really used to having a bunch of snow or anything like that. And honestly, we ain't really gonna get all a bunch of snow like what we used to up north. It's just gonna probably come in, but it's gonna be more icy roads than anything. But I just want to start off with preparing for the storm, because this is where people either win or struggle. This is your 48-hour window. First thing is power and communication. You need to charge everything. So this storm in Georgia is going to be coming here on Saturday, right? So you need to make sure you charging them phones, them tablets, them power banks, getting those rechargeable lanterns. You need to have your plugins. Like, you need to be prepared with power and communication. Miss Day, tell them something that you know about getting that preparation for those power of them communications. Have you ever been in a situation where your phone just died and you ain't had no power to get that phone on?
Girl, hello fam. We were just talking about that today. And I remember, and it's been a while, but this still has my mind in a preparedness state. Although I live in Las Vegas right now, right? But I was born and raised in the Midwest, St. Louis, Missouri. Okay. So we had some real winters, when the school gets shut down and nobody can go anywhere, and having that mentality. But then from going from St. Louis to California, and my preparedness and my mindset in California was always built around earthquakes, right? Because an earthquake can hit and you just shut off. You're not getting anything. They would lock everything down, from ATMs to grocery stores to all of that. So right now, even living in Las Vegas, for me, I just had this conversation with my husband. about being prepared on a water tip,
Mm,
because the last time that we were in the preparation real hardcore mode was during the pandemic, right?
mm,
During that time, and we stocked in on water, canned goods, all of that. But as of right now, I need to redo that because I had to get rid of all of the outdated stuff that I had from back then. And every time he goes out, he goes and brings back 2 cases of water. But
mm.
something in my spirit is saying you need to step that up. So
Right.
that's what we're doing now, is preparing more on a water tip, because they always talk about we in a water crisis, yet
Mm,
they're still building properties. And but on the winter tip, this is
mm.
what came over my heart when you were saying you guys are hunkering down because a storm is on the way.
Right.
And I think not only should your home be prepared, but you should be prepared in your vehicle,
Hmm.
right?
That's what I
Because
was going to talk about second. When we
okay, but let's stay with the house first. We'll go
Yes,
with the
we
house
can
first.
talk about power, like right now with power and communication with people, because we really want people to make sure them phones and stuff is charged. Because back in the day, we all used house phones, right?
Oh
But
yeah, the
nowadays,
landline.
so many people don't have a house line. So
Remember the landline.
no phone. If your phone die, you screwed, because you don't have the house phones like you used to. So
Come on,
nowadays, a lot of people got to worry about them phones being charged up, and if God forbid the power goes out, you need to make sure you have your phone
power.
charged. So that's
Yes,
what I'm telling everybody before the storm hits. Make sure you are charging up them phones, charging up them tablets, making sure you got
yes.
the lantern lights. And like Miss Day was just about to say, also second is your vehicle, making sure you're filling up your gas tank. Um, you want to know when that snow, you want to do this before the snow is coming. You don't want to wait until when it's happening or after the fact. Go ahead and fill up your tank beforehand, because sometimes, and another thing you need to make sure of is sometimes gas stations can lose power, and those cards is not going to work on those gas stations. So you may have to have cash. So make sure that you have small bills with you as well, because you may not, if any of those systems go out, you may not be able to use your card for different transactions and things. So always make sure you have that small cash. And the fourth thing I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna let Ms. Day talk to y'all, because the last time I said is about medication.
Mm.
Medication. If you are somebody in your home needs daily meds, pick them up early. Make sure you don't wait until the last minute when it comes to those medication, because again, if places are closed, you may not be able to get them. So do not forget to get those things, and then download things now. Like I said about that power, go ahead and download some things now on your tablets and your phone. Go ahead, because just in case, God forbid, you go offline, because with your power, you got your Wi-Fi. Your Wi-Fi may go out, but guess what? If you go on your phone and say you have like Netflix, Hulu, any of those type of things, you can actually, if it's some movies that you like to watch, you can actually go ahead and download some of that now. Some of them books you like to read, download those things for entertainment while you stuck inside. And if you run out, if you don't have the power, and you can't watch it, live streaming, you can actually go ahead and be able to download those things and watch those things right on your phones or tablets and things. And last thing in this phase to know in your house is where your water shutoff is, where the breaker boxes are. And I just don't want y'all to learn that information in the dark. So make sure you're learning this stuff now while it's still before the actual storm hits. Because like I said, if you're in Georgia, this is supposed to start on Saturday. Now I know a lot of times, like I said, here they're not used to this. So you're really having to get prepared. Up north, these basic things that when it comes to what we're talking about, like you were saying about like I said about the water and the pipe protection. Um,
Mhm.
like
And is that still true now? Like back in the day, I know they used to tell us like if you're going below freezing, you
Mhm.
kind of keep the water running just a little bit.
Right,
So you have a little trickle of water coming out so the pipes can't freeze.
right. They said
That's
let
still
those
in play.
drip, especially for your exterior walls. Open those cabinet doors under your sink so warm air can circulate underneath there. Disconnect your garden hoses. cover any outdoor faucets. No,
Okay.
and like I said, know where your shut off water fast, where
In
that
case
stuff
of
is,
break.
in case the pipes burst or secondary anything. Fill some jugs, buckets, or even in the bathroom, with your water ahead
Look,
of time. No glam. You don't want to not have these things in check when it comes to that. So again, what have you ever been in those type of situations where because I remember one year we were here in Georgia and all our power went out, and it went out for a day where we didn't have no power for an entire day. And I was
mhm.
like, oh my God, I was freaking out. I was like, oh my goodness.
Like,
But
what is going on?
and I'm just sitting here like, it's crazy because we are so attached to things that are all need to be plugged in. Like we are so attached to those things. But the good thing about it, when that happened that time, it wasn't wintertime. It was actually summertime. So,
Oh,
it wasn't getting dark early. We would still be able to go outside. We were still doing stuff. It wasn't as bad because it wasn't wintertime. So that's why I say right now, you're not going outside. You go be in the house. So you
right.
gotta be prepared.
And that is so important because you got to adapt to where you are. And
Right.
even like right now, because we're out here in Vegas, right? And my worst nightmare would be not having air conditioning in the summer, right? And because our air conditioner pretty much, my husband got me living in Antarctica, girl. It'd be cold around here all year round. But I got plenty blankets on the bed and jackets and whatever. But look at this. I had him to order us some wireless fans.
Mm,
This fan is goes by a charger.
I
And how
like
you can recharge this back here, because I just asked the babies are charged up. You switch the batteries out. So I have an extra battery and whatnot. And we have 4 of these
mm,
because God forbid the air ever go out around here.
right.
We gonna me, him, and the dog. We gonna get in a circle and we gonna have
The fans, right.
and
That
I
is
got
cool. I like that. I really
yeah.
like that.
And that's just matter. Keep your batteries charged. So if ever you need them, they're in rotation. You hit on some good ones for the house. Here's my thing that I had gotten for my house: these flickerless candles. And
Hmm.
I love these. They're in my Amazon store. I ordered them and see how that lights up right without a flame.
Yes.
And so I they came like 30 to a box, and they
Oh,
already come with the battery in there. When they come, they
okay.
ready to go. You just pull the tab. And so imagine these in each room of your house, the bathroom, the kitchen, living room, just throughout the house. You would have light and not worry so much, because whenever I used to have to light a candles for emergency, it always was on my mind. Ain't nothing, especially if it's an earthquake. You don't
Right.
want no aftershocks, and you don't want stuff falling over with flames. And
Right.
so these
Where
are,
where did you say you have those at? Can you tell them where they can purchase those on your
they can
store?
get them off my Amazon store, and I'll drop the link in the chat. It's https amazon.com/shop Mrs. Day all day. And
Okay.
they are in my store, and they were so reasonably priced.
Yeah.
That's why I got 3 boxes worth of these. And I
Okay.
know they got at least about 15, 20 of them in there.
Let
And
me put that in the chat real quick. While you talking there, while I'm on here, yeah, but Colette Brooks, she said Philadelphia as well. Like I was telling about Philadelphia, I was telling about that storm of '96. And Evelyn
Mhm.
Oliver said New York storm, no power, food, or drinks for days. Now say, whoo, that was days. I
Can
never
you
had to.
imagine?
I thank God because I never had to experience anything for days. It was just the one day that time with the one thing, but
I thank God
I couldn't
too.
even imagine. And what did you say your link was again? So I can type this in the chat.
Let me see. It is hang on one second. Let me go make sure I'm saying the
And
right
while
thing.
you looking that up, I'm just gonna talk about food and kitchen prep. Food
Yes.
is next, y'all. And no, this is not about panicking, buying a bunch of stuff. You just want at least 3 to 5 days of non-cook of no cooking food. So like some peanut butter, some tuna, some crackers, some bread, some canned meat, and some fruit cups. Just some little fruit cups. Have a manual can opener, um, shelf stable milk, powdered milk if needed. Freeze some water bottles so that they can act as ice packs for yourself, and keep a cooler ready in case you need to move food outside if temperatures stay below freezing. And one big thing, don't stock up on perishables right before a storm. You don't want to waste. So just think about that when you're thinking about your food stuff. Because sometimes when these stores, when they get ready to be a storm, you'll see everything run out the store because everybody's so hyped about everything. And like, oh, I need all this stuff. And then you end up having, sometimes some people have stuff that wind up going bad because it don't even be that long that you're going to be through the storm. Leaders need something for just a couple of days because it shouldn't take all, you shouldn't be down for that long. So don't overdo it when it comes to purchasing stuff at the store. Now, this we're gonna talk about that heat and home safety, y'all. This part right here is about staying warm,
And
safe.
staying alive.
Yes, and gather extra blankets, sleeping bags, and warm layers of clothing. If you use a fireplace, make sure your chimney is clear and you have dry wood. And please, 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 hear this clearly. Never run generators or grills inside your home or garage. Carbon monoxide is silent and deadly, y'all. Remember that. I actually saw somebody on a TikTok one time with the grill in the house. Like, I never
Oh no.
do something like that, but I guess some people just don't know. I don't know if they thought because George Foreman had the grills that you could use in the house, but you cannot take, those out. So I don't know if they thought it was the same thing.
Okay, no. Let's park the car right there. Hold up. Let's park the car. Because no. Because you don't even want that regular I'm gonna cook some burger hot dogs on the grill. I done seen people had those grills in their garage and they had the door to the house open. That's a good way that you get carbon monoxide poisoning too, off of the charcoal on that grill, right? And if it's coming into the house, because you got carbon monoxide alarms. My mom used to have one in her house back in St. Louis, and that's how we knew she had the smoker going one day. And the back door down out the basement, back door, we kept opening and closing it, and eventually that carbon monoxide alarm went off. And we had to call the fire department. We had all the doors and windows open. We were scared to go to sleep.
Wow.
But they told us that it had cleared out and it should be okay. But this was the problem. But here's what, speaking of grills, because I bought my husband a smoker grill that's on our back patio right now. I had the cover, girl. Why the sun disintegrate the cover on the thing? But I got a grill that has a little smoker top on it where he could go out there and grill, because if the electricity goes out, we gonna go on that back porch. We could get the meat out the freezer and let that thaw, and you would have an opportunity to cook. We got the charcoal that you don't need the lighter fluid. It'll just kind of catch. But we will be outside all the way, not in the garage, not near any doors, but be out there and have you a place where you could cook. Even if it was winter, you could go run in and out the house, honey, but you could get you a little meal going. But absolutely, for the love of God, do not bring any kind of grills, charcoals, none of it near the house. That is trouble.
Yeah. Right. Now, let me tell y'all, like, they just touched on something else too. Test your smoke detectors and carbon dioxide alarms now, not during the outage. And every person in your house should have access to flashlights and spare batteries. Always make sure that you have flashlight and some spare batteries. Now we're going to talk about this other thing, which is vehicles and travel safety. Now, me and Miss Davis talking about this earlier, so we really was like, let's talk about this. And what she was saying was like, let's talk about the road. And, we don't always think about that because winter driving sometimes is no joke. And I remember a few years ago here in Georgia, because remember I said here in Georgia, it's not really set up as well when it comes to snowstorms and stuff, because they're not used to that. So they don't have like the salt trucks as soon as they know it's like coming out and all that kind of stuff, because they're not equipped for that. And so I remember that year where people were stuck on the highway for hours and hours, like literally. And so if the freezing rain starts, you want to avoid driving if you can. You don't want to be out there driving, especially on bridges and overpasses, shady roads, because those freeze first. And then we had, when I tell you it was so many accidents because people not pay, like some people are still trying to drive like it would be on a regular dry day. You cannot drive like that because there's a lot of black ice that will be out there with these cold temperatures. And
Right.
also in your car at this time, make sure you keep, like Miss Day said, some blankets in your car, water, some snacks, a phone charger, some gloves. Make sure you replace those old wiper blades, and
Yes.
also top off your washer fluid. Um,
All the fluids.
right.
Yes.
And then park away from large trees and limbs when possible, because I know that during that time, there was a time where a lady was, they had showed a lady on the news where a tree had fell down on her car. And so you want to stay away from them large trees and stuff, just in case, God
That's
forbid,
true.
they come down. And if you're traveling, assume delays. Flights and travel disruptions, they can last for days because they're going to cancel those flights and things if you're traveling somewhere and it's during a storm. Evelyn, hold on. Colette, she said no salt trucks. They use sand. That's true. Here in Georgia, they be actually using sand instead of salt because they say something
Oh my God.
with that, and it'll mess up their roads out here because their roads is made differently, I guess. Um, Ms. Evelyn Oliver said, I got a portable power supply brick now to give power to all electrical items in the home when I have power outage. Now that's really good too.
That
And
is, that's what I
so,
was thinking about.
yeah, those are really good like tips to have when it comes to being in these storms. And like I say, check on, like, if you have some elderly people during the storm, when the storm is happening, this is not
Mhm.
the time to test your luck. Don't, like, if you really can stay in, don't drive unless it's absolutely necessary.
But
Treat.
sis, those were all so good
Mhm.
because I mean, everything like we were talking about, I think a lot of times we don't think about that unexpected. But in these times that we're in, when you don't have a lot of, road support, different situations like that, having that, everything you said, the blankets, the food, the water. But then what else I thought about was that I saw the other day, it was like a 38 some car pileup had happened on a highway. So when they got that kind of crashing accidents, it's
Mhm.
going to be some hours before help is on the way,
Right.
because now they got to tow off every other car. So
Mhm.
that's the time when you want to just put that extra coat in the back of the trunk, put
Right.
the thick blankets, boots, socks, everything. Don't just roll out like you just gonna be gone for a minute. Think
Right.
about, if something unexpected happened, would I survive this?
Mhm.
And another thing you touched on about the gas.
Right.
When we were having that shortage out here, a friend of mine had called me and told me, he said, Denise, you and your husband, y'all better keep y'all cars gassed up because they talking about with these truckers not being able to get across and back. That affects whether or not oil and gas is getting to the stations. But
Right.
I'm very lucky that my husband keep my car clean and he keep our car filled with gas. He don't let it go below half. So if
Mhm.
you get that mentality, like I don't want to let it go below half, and
Mhm.
then we'll keep it up. It won't be like you got to do the whole fill up thing all the time. But think about your gas reserves and filling those things, the tank up, and topping off, like you just said, your oil, your wipers, everything that you need. Do the maintenance on the car right now too, because if you can't get out for a while to do it, you know it's done.
Okay, I'm gonna let you take it over for just a second.
Okay. Okay. So and before we end off, I thought I already had these. Remember, I just told you guys about these flameless tea lights, right? And the ones I'm gonna put them in my store as soon as we get off this live because they're not in the store. I bought these for my house before I even had my Amazon store, and they come 24 pieces. Flickering flameless battery operated candles. You get 200 hours of use out of each one of these, and they come 24 in a box. And look at that for 11.99. And it looks like you can get them in different colors down here. Like, see that row there? It's like different colors that the candle can illuminate in. And I just got the basic white ones because I'm thinking if I'm in a dark situation, I'm not trying to set the mood with the colors. I got some other lights for that. But I think that's a good thing. It's one of their best sellers. And I'm telling the family that I will put this in the store. I don't even have them in my store right now, but
Mhm.
awesome. 24 of them come in a box for $11.99, and you could get different colors on them. And they got 200 hours worth of light for each one. 200 hours off of this one battery. And then I went back and bought me the batteries that's the size that fits this. But I got 3 boxes worth, so I'm not planning on being in the dark. And the other thing that I wanted to share is that, you know how sometimes, like you said, if you have an emergency, because we used to think about this earthquakes when I used to be in Cali. If you had to hurry and get out of your house, are you prepared to get out the house with the essentials? Like you mentioned, your medication. Do you have cash? Because I think everybody needs to have the cash with the small bills in your house, because as soon as there's a problem, you know, the first thing they shut off is the ATM machines. And then everybody's running around with a debit card like I'm standing on the top of the world, but your debit card ain't gonna be about nothing. You need some small bills to barter with. I know y'all young, see, I'm an old lady, but honey, you gotta get that bartering in your spirit when you can barter for things, and you don't want to be giving up your 20s and your 50s and your 100s. So you break that money down into small bills, and we have book bags. My husband literally bought us. I used to call them what do you call them, bucky bags, but I call it boogie. Like if you got the boogie up out of here, and mine is in the garage. I wish you're gonna turn me off in a minute, and I'll go get it. But I have this big bag, and I put everything in there that I thought we may need if we had to run away from this house, from toiletries to money to socks, some underpants, things that we needed. Then I got them in that bag. I got my own bag. He got his bag. And so just being prepared is what it is, because you know, you never know what can happen.
That's Colette said, how long does it take for those to come from Amazon?
Oh, they come quick, but I got Prime and I live around the corner from a distribution center, but they came fast. Amazon's not playing. You put that
normally I get some for Amazon and usually come within a day or two.
Yeah, no more than 2 days. I think they are very, very valuable, and that I'm gonna put them in there and I'll drop them. I'm gonna give it to Nisi right after when we get out of here, but I'm gonna add that to the store because, like I said, I thought that was valuable. Very, very valuable.
Too. You should put that in your store so people can see that, like, get that your items that you just was talking about that you have, and put those all in your store, then people can grab those different items if they need them.
Yes,
I do remember with that the time in the summer. It wasn't in the winter when we had that outage and stuff, and I remember we had tried to go to the store because, again, like I said, it was in the summertime, so we was able to still get outside and do stuff. But it was just that we didn't have power over here. But the store, one of the stores didn't have, the machine wasn't working. So that's how I remember, like, now I'm like, okay, so now it's best to kind of keep some little bit of cash there or something, because none of the machines was able to work. So you had to have cash to be able to get anything.
And think about that. Remember the floods? Remember when the flooding had happened? And the very first thing that's going to go down, that's not going to be an operation, it's going to be an ATM. They're not going to be working. They not. They just turned them off and your money locked inside the house, their house.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Now, I also, like I was saying, also check on your neighbors. It's like I said, especially if you have elderlies or people who are disabled and things, by phone if you can. Don't be trying to run over nobody's house because you don't want to get caught up in being outside. And any outages that you should that you have, make sure you're reporting those to those companies. Now I know with we have Snap and Shows over here where we're at in our county, and they have an app on a phone where we use the app, and you able to put in your address if you see it's an outage, and they have that reported so everybody can see that there's an outage in your area, and it shows all the different outages in the area. So that's another thing. So see if you have any of those electric companies and things that has the app, that's probably going to be really useful for you as well.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
But no, one just piggybacking on what you just said about the neighbors, about your elderly. This is a great time too. This is a new year. If you don't know your neighbors,
Mhm.
this is a good time to get to know your neighbors. Because I know I live in a nice community, and right here, midway of the block of our house, some elderly people down the block. But we got young people near us, across from us, families. But I make it a business, honey. We introduce ourselves when we get a good hit, honey. We take everybody bun cakes and just, but I know if there was an outage and we had to survive, I know people on this block would come together. I could see us pulling the grills out, getting some food, sharing water. So
Mhm.
you don't really want to be isolated against your neighbors. I ain't saying you got to be running up in people's house every day, but at least know who they are, know their names, know if you don't see them in a while. I'm going to check on you. So I think that's a wonderful thing, and especially for the elderly, because a lot of them can't get out, they can't move about. But that was my generation. We were looking out, and you knew your neighbors. But
Mhm.
now everybody's kind of so isolated. We even got an HOA guy that don't even like the people getting together. But I'm gonna rectify that this year so I can know more of my neighbors on
Wow.
different blocks.
You know,
Other than
it is so different now. Like, because I know when we were growing up, and I come from, like I said, from up north is a little different because we are used to having block parties. Like, that's a thing in Philly.
Mhm.
In the summertime, you always going to see some block parties. Um, but and then people came to, like, on Saturdays, like when it was like the street cleaning time, everybody came out, everybody cleaned together, and then we used to have like the grills out and people had the food and everything. Like, it was just everybody kind of came together and did stuff like that. But now we barely talk to people that's on your block. Like,
Exactly.
you just say you might beat the horn and wave a little bit, but that might be as much as you gonna get from them these days.
Yeah, but we do, girl. My husband a chatty Chuck, and I'm chatty Kathy. So we know our neighbors, and I think that's a good thing because if push came to shove, I know I could give my neighbors some water because I got plenty. Yeah,
Right, right.
that's the position I want to be in. I could share.
Now, Toots said, Covington Electric. Do y'all have an app over there, Toots? Do y'all have an app at Covington Electric? But I was saying also, another thing I left off, wasn't even thinking. When the storm passes, because we talking about before the storm, we talk about during the storm, but when the storm passes, you also want to stay alert because ice can refreeze overnight. So you want to walk carefully. You still
Yeah,
want to keep checking those pipes and the leaks for temperature rising. If your refrigerated food has been above 40 degrees Fahrenheit for more than 4 hours, throw it out. Avoid any DIY electrical repairs and around down lines. And most importantly, be patient because power restoration after ice storms can take days sometimes. So you got to really be patient when it comes to that electric and different things like that.
I
But
love. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love what you said earlier about not parking under the trees.
right,
Because once the ice and the water gets on those branches and the snow,
right
that becomes heavy. If that's an old tree, that's breaking.
in the window.
And your insurance ain't gonna probably want to do it because they're gonna call it an act of nature.
And the lady I was talking about, that's what they show on the news where it went straight through her window. And I said, whoo, you know,
Wow.
and it was a blessing because when it happened, she had literally just got out of her car. So she was like outside praying because if she was still in the car, that could have been her smashed down in
Oh
her car.
my God.
She had literally just got out of the car.
I'm glad I don't have any big trees over my house, and the ones on the other side of my house is out on the back
But
wall.
that's why we took away the trees that was close to the house because of the fact that
Mhm.
we just never wanted to have any type of storm coming and something fall over. Because even at one, my dad actually, I think it was last year, because last year, the year before, I think it was the 2 years ago. He actually had, but this was in the summertime. It wasn't the winter though. When they had a storm then, and then the tree fell on the house and went straight through the roof. And I was
Oh
like, shit,
no.
yeah. So it's like, and that's why he started trying to get those trees away from his house as well. But people gotta be careful with that because you don't think about that a lot of times when it comes to the
No.
especially when it's winter storms. You don't be like, oh, let me move out. You don't think about that. You more so think about that in the summer, but not
Right.
in the winter. You don't really think about those things.
Yeah, and again, living in HOAs, they dictate because they don't planted the trees. But I'm so glad I had a smaller one in my front yard and just one that's over to the right of the driveway. But
Okay.
my neighbor's tree, the tree kept breaking, falling. Everybody got these giant trees, and our little tree that was in the middle, that one died, right? So
Mm.
we had to go get another one. And so she's just now coming up, but it's far enough away from my house. But
Right.
everybody that got them giant willow kind of trees and big trees, girl, I'm not mad about it at all. And I wouldn't be able to get rid of it just to cut it down because I didn't want it because of the HOA rules.
Yeah, I hate that
Where
stuff.
they gonna be at when
We
it
don't have
floods?
the HOA where I stay. So I said it's cool, but she said that should I move? No, you should be good because that's not no real big tree like that where you be parking. You should be straight. But I just want we just wanted to come on here tonight, y'all, just to talk about the storm things for y'all to be prepared for. Y'all, and if y'all on Facebook, I did go ahead and post in the chat um Miss Day's Amazon list so you can be able to go on there and purchase. I'm going to pin that once we come off because I'm scared if I try to do anything else right now and everything going to shut off.
Yeah, I'm gonna post
I'm
this.
going to go ahead and pin it. Once we come off, I'll pin that comment and I'll also make sure I put it on the other platforms with this so each person can be able to pick up those items. Now, our storm is coming on Saturday. So if y'all want to get some things, y'all going to have to order that like now because the
Yeah.
store will be here on Saturday. So make sure you place those orders tonight if you're trying to have it before a storm actually
Yeah.
comes. So make sure that y'all get those things today so y'all can have those things for Saturday. Now, if you're up north, and even if you miss it out on this storm, and you just, we never know if something else is coming because I looked at the weather here in Georgia, and we did see that there's going to be snow here, snow and rain on Saturday and Sunday into Monday morning. And it's supposed to stop on Monday morning. But however, because like I said, we're not used to, these types of things happening, I'm not sure how the roads and how things are going to be with traveling and doing different things. So you may be down from probably Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, maybe even Tuesday. So y'all just be careful out there when it comes to trying to go places or trying to get anything. If you can, make sure tomorrow you get whatever it is that you need, even though it's going to be raining all day tomorrow, but just go out there tomorrow and get what you need while it's just raining. And so
Mhm.
therefore you don't be out there when it start getting that slippery mess and the snow and the ice and all of that. So whatever
Yes.
you need, like I was talking to my mom brother, I said, make sure you get what you need today and tomorrow. Today and tomorrow is the best 2 days to get it, so you're not in the midst of all that. Make sure you got enough things so you can have things to eat. Make sure you got your little
Mhm.
snacks, whatever it is that you need, your blankets, water, everything that you need, so you can be prepared for when this goes down. So I
Yep.
want y'all, I want to leave y'all with this: preparation is not fear. Preparation is wisdom. It's how you protect your peace, your home, and your people. You can't control the weather, but you can control how ready you are for it. And remember this: you can do whatever you want to do as long as you put your mind to it, as long as you're passionate about it and it's possible. And know when your preparation lines with purpose, it always becomes power. If this episode helped you today, share it with somebody you care about because being prepared isn't just personal, it's community. So I want y'all to stay warm, stay safe, and stay ready. Talk to y'all later. Bye
Say hi to your neighbors.
bye.